Hey friends, it's Liz, the official craft nerd, and today I have 5 easy spring DIYs for you. Okay, so for our first project, we are going to make this really pretty home sign that is super easy to do. So this is a picture for Valentine's Day that I'm just going to remove the glitter, and I'm going to use my little handy dandy ladybug vacuum, which I will link down below. I love that thing. Then I'm going to take some Waverly chalk paint in plaster. It is one of my favorite colors to use on many of my projects, and this I believe took about 3 coats to fully cover up the image on this picture. And as you can see, I'm using my heat gun just to kind of speed up the process. And for the frame, I use some antique Waverly wax just to darken it up. I also went ahead and just kind of gently brushed it across the white as well, just to kind of give it some wood grain feel. And then here, all I did was take my ruler and made some lines across this. I wanted this to look like it was wood. And really you can use a pencil for this. I just had a pen on hand, so it worked just as well. But once I drew the lines on, I do go over it with my finger and just kind of smudge them out so they're not too dominant and look like I drew it on with a pen. So on my Cricut, I did go ahead and make some letter decals that I'm going to use for this sign. If you don't have a Cricut, you can obviously use some of the stickers that Dollar Tree sells as far as their poster letters, or you can also draw them on if you're good at freehanding, or use a stencil even and paint them on. So it's however you prefer or what you can do. I just wanted to make this super simple. And I'm using those lines there to really kind of help line up my letters, which was awesome. I mean, it made it so much easier for me. And I'm taking my transfer tape, as you can see here. I'm laying my decal down just so I can get it transferred over. And then for each of these, I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to my sign. So once all the letters are there, I am going to use this greenery rub-on transfer from the Dollar Tree. I had been searching high and low for these, found them, and was so excited to finally get to use them. These are amazing, and this really took this picture to a whole other level, and it was super easy to use. As you can see, just rub it on very well and then peel it right off, and it's perfect. So of course I felt like this needed a little bit extra, and so I went ahead and made just a messy bow, and you can just see me cutting all the different types of kind of burlappy type ribbon that I had on hand. You can do this any way, shape, or form that you would prefer, but I just went ahead with just kind of a messy, crazy bow just to put up in the corner of this picture. So once my bow is all tied together and ready to go, I'm just going to put some hot glue on the back and place it up in the corner of the frame. I also decided that I wanted to add a little bit of greenery, so I'm using this, I believe this is that boxwood greenery. I got it from a wreath that I bought from the Target dollar spot and just pulled off a couple of branches just to kind of place it up underneath the corner of the bow. So once it was all said and done, this is the final project, guys. I absolutely love this. I think this is so pretty, so high-end looking, and done at such an affordable cost, you guys. And you can keep this up, not just for spring, but for year-round. You have to tell me what you think about it in the comments below. So friends, I'm excited to say this video is part of Heidi Sonboul's Friday Friend Hop. And the way this works is the next creator that you will go and see is going to be linked down in my description below, as well as the entire playlist of all these amazing creators. And so stay tuned because I do have an exciting announcement about this hop coming up. So on to DIY number 2. I absolutely love this little planter. So what I'm using here is going to be some of those square drawer box thingies that the Dollar Tree has had for some time now. And these are actually little garden picks that are from the 99-cent store is actually where I found these. And I just thought they would make a perfect little fence, and they just worked out perfectly with these boxes to make this really cute spring decor planter. So once I have all of these lined up, I'm just taking some popsicle sticks and gluing them down to add support to the back of this. I used this big one just randomly, and then I have a bunch of the little ones from Dollar Tree, and these actually worked perfect to give this back the support that it definitely needs. Then I'm taking my Waverly Antique Wax again, and I'm going to give this a good coat just to stain this up and have it look a little bit more my style. I do like the darker wood, and I just wanted it to give just that rustic country feel, I guess would be the way to say it. But I love how this wax paint looks on many of my projects. So once this is on there, I do wipe it down with some paper towel just to get any excess off. And then I go next to the boxes, and I want to do the same thing with them. And for this, I'm really only going to paint 3 of the sides as well as the bottom, because the one side is going to be glued to the actual fence part itself. So I didn't want to add any extra paint on there, only because with this antique wax, sometimes the hot glue really struggles to stick to it. So you have to add quite a bit. And honestly, I would just prefer to use some wood glue or maybe some E6000, whatever you would prefer. As you see here, I'm taking that plaster paint again and just kind of doing a very light dusting over the fence itself. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue on my boxes. Now, they don't go completely side by side. There's going to be little tiny gaps in between the boxes, but that was okay. Again, you're really not going to notice that too much. You're really going to be focused on, you know, the flowers and everything that you're going to be putting in these. So I wasn't too concerned with that at all. But I just stood this up here just so I can make sure everything was lined up as evenly as possible. And I just worked with the 2 outside boxes first, and then went ahead and stuck the middle box in last. So because I can never leave anything completely undone, I did go ahead and just kind of brush in that wax on the inside just so you wouldn't see any of that when you put your floral in. And again, I took the Waverly plaster and just kind of gave a good kind of brush over on the front of these boxes. And the reason I do that is because I did again make some decals on my Cricut, and the letters were in black, so I wanted them to stand out, and I really kind of felt just on the plain wood itself, you probably wouldn't see them that well because the paint is so dark. So again, I'm just kind of dusting over again, wanted to add a little bit of extra. Now, I will say this, I lost the footage of the decals and adding them on, but you can get the picture. So this is what the final product looked like. I just loved how it just says plant, water, grow. Super pretty, definitely great for springtime, and I absolutely adore this. Okay, so here's the big announcement. We're giving away a $100 Amazon gift card. How this works is you'll comment and like on every video in the hop to be entered, and you have until midnight, February 9th, to do so. And then the drawing is going to be held on February 10th. So good luck, guys. Okay, so for my third DIY here, this is a simple welcome sign that I just thought was so adorable. And again, I'm using what I had. I had one of these larger tag signs from Valentine's Day, and I'm just going to remove the hanger here and the bow, and I'm going to, of course, scrape off all of that awesome Dollar Tree glitter. You guys know how they love to put glitter on everything. So once that is all completely cleaned off, and I, again, using my handy dandy ladybug, I love this thing. Once I vacuum that up, clean up my mess, I'm going back to my, again, favorite paint ever, that Waverly chalk paint in plaster. I do believe this also took a good couple of coats. I want to say at least 2 or 3 just to cover up the decal on there. But again, if you use a heating gun in between, you can definitely dry this up quicker and get your projects done a lot faster. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm drying it up, and of course you can still kind of see that truck poking through. And I believe this was after probably one coat, I would say. Don't really remember, but I just go back in, and again, you can see once you add another, there it goes. It's disappearing. Awesome. So once it's completely dried, I am going to take, again, a decal that I cut on my Cricut. And these are all images that are available on the Cricut site itself. So it was free to use, and I just really like the script for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel off that vinyl, and then I'm going to take my transfer tape and get that moved over onto the picture itself. And I really just wanted to line this up kind of at the bottom. I had this cut out specifically so it would fit this sign, but I really, again, I just love how this is, the script for it, and I thought it would just make the sign look, 10 times better than I originally thought it would. So again, just taking my ruler and a pen, I went over and made my wood shiplap lines. Now, truthfully, I should have did this before I laid down my decal, but I forgot, so it's okay. But just lightly going over it. It doesn't need to be very dark or heavy. And again, I'll just go over it with my finger and just kind of smudge it a little bit to make it look a little bit more weathered. And here you see, this is that wreath I was talking about previously. I got these at the Target, words, you guys, the Target dollar spot, and it was $3. And I just thought I can use it as a wreath or just for the pieces itself. Now, I did make this a little bit smaller than what it normally is, so it would fit on the sign. And I'm just going to add a generous amount of hot glue on the bottom of this so that I can place it down securely on the top portion of my sign. And just the finishing touches for this, I did wrap some twine around the bottom. I just thought it needed just a little bit more down there, and I just secured it with a little bit of hot glue on the back. And then I also just made a real quick finger bow to put on the wreath itself. I just, of course, can't ever just have it simple, y'all. I have to be a little bit extra. And I'm actually going to reuse that burlap bow that was already on this sign to begin with. I did like it, and I thought it would be a cute little addition. So I just glued it all together right at the top, and this is the final product. I adore this sign so much. I keep it by my front door, and I just think it's super, super cute. You have to tell me what you think down in the comments below. Okay, moving right along. This is DIY number 4, and this is a really easy family sign that you can make. So again, I am using just a sign from Dollar Tree. I had some of these Easter signs left over from last year, and I thought this time around, I am just going to flip this sucker over and not worry about trying to paint over the graphic. I'm filling in the holes. I'm just using some of that little sand putty stuff, and that works great. And no shocker here, but I'm using plaster again to paint this sign. This only really needed one coat because I didn't mind it looking a little bit weathered. And again, my favorite, the antique wax, and I'm just going to brush over this pretty generously, and then even going back over it again with some more plaster because it got a little too dark. So remember, you can always fix it if it's not something you particularly care for. I am using one of these wall decals from Dollar Tree, and I thought this one was super pretty. It just says family, but they come in many different styles, and I thought this worked perfect for this particular project. And all I'm doing right now is just adding a little bit of the Mod Podge over the top just to kind of secure the sticker down because those are removable, so I didn't want the chance of it falling off later. Once that was dry, I just went ahead and again added some twine. I felt like it just went with all my other projects, so I do this to both ends of this sign and simply tie it onto the back and add a little bit of hot glue just to make sure it stays down where it needs to go. So just to finish this up, I did want to add a little bit more greenery, which again, it probably would have been fine without, but I took some more of that boxwood and just glued a little piece on both sides, just kind of tucking it underneath the twine itself. And just so it had something to hang up with, I took a piece of twine and grabbed a popsicle stick and just glued that down over top the back ends, just so this had something that you could hang this up with. Super, super simple. And this is the final project, guys. I thought this was super easy to make and super adorable for anybody. So this is the final project, guys. If you are still here, I definitely appreciate you guys sticking around so far. This project is probably the easiest one that you can do. I am taking a mason jar and some dowels from Dollar Tree, and I'm really just gluing them all the way around this jar. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. Just go ahead and glue them on down to the sides. Super, super simple. So I do want to take a minute though, just to thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you're coming from Heidi's channel, definitely let me know down below that Heidi sent you. I definitely appreciate Heidi so much, and for these hops that she does. It is such a great way to experience new creators and get inspired with new DIY projects. So I have been a big fan and have been so honored to be a part of this myself. And if you are one of my already subscribers, hey guys, thank you so much for coming back. I love y'all so much, and I appreciate each and every single one of you guys that come by. So please make sure you let me know down below what your favorite project was. And of course, if you don't already, check me out on Instagram. You can find me there under Official Craft Nerd. And I post there weekly, and I do keep up with Instagram a whole lot. So I definitely would love for you guys to come and say hey to me over there and be a part of my nerdy family. So as you saw here, all I've done is added just a burlap ribbon around the middle, and I'm going to just tag on this cute little finger bow with some twine on the front. And I really just feel like it just ties into all the other projects. Very country, very spring, and I absolutely loved how this turned out. Just add your favorite flower. To me, the lavender is very spring, so I love this. And again, guys, thanks so much for stopping by. Please, if you like what you see, hit the like button below, and of course, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you know every time I upload something new. And until next time, guys, stay safe.